That area just above the flirt lines, just below the bottom ring of that Mercury or that little finger, are your relationships and your marriages. These horizontal lines sit between the top of the heart line and the bottom of the ring on that little finger. There's a timeline there, and you divide these up into 3 sections. Now, coming up from the bottom, that first section is your 20s and 30s, the middle section is your 40s and 50s, and that third section is 60 and above. You'll read those lines beginning from the back of the hand, which is the start of the relationship or the marriage, towards the palm, which is later on. The lighter lines will be relationship lines, and the darker ones, the more prominent lines, will stand out and have a great density and color to them, reflect your marriages. So as we take a look at the horizontal lines on the edge of that right hand, and you can see some of those little relationship lines. Usually when they're under 5 years, they just barely show up. But then you have this very strong marriage line. Goes along nice and consistent, has a nice color to it. You don't see any big breaks or big ovals in the line, which would indicate a break in the energy of that line or that relationship. Goes along nice and straight too. And then we don't see any other marriage lines beyond that, so it's just the one marriage line. It's a very strong line. Now, in order to find a timeline on that, when that could happen, we go over to the fate line and we look for a little Y that sprouts off of that line. This is an opportunity to marry. Whether or not you take that opportunity is up to you. We all have free will. But you have one right there, right around 48, 49 years old. But it's a very strong marriage line. Nice, kind, loving marriage. Now, the children lines come down vertically from the bottom of that ring around the Mercury finger, and you count them from the inside of your palm to the outer edge. And these can be biological children, stepchildren, adopted, godchildren, or nieces and nephews. Any child that you build a strong bond with. And as we take a look at those vertical lines, and they come off that bottom ring of that pinky finger on the right hand, that Mercury finger, right there on the edge, and they sit above and across that marriage line. It looks like you have 2 very strong children lines there. Then you have a little gap there, and then you have a bunch of grandchildren lines. We don't usually count those grandchildren lines in your hands. Those are better counted in your children's hands. But you have 2 very strong children lines. Very robust. A good close bond.